a saber-toothed predator from long before evolution came up with cats. As an extinction crisis wiped out species at the end of the Permian Period, a predatory species emerged that dominated southern Africa's domain. Some 252 million years ago, it was a disastrous time to be alive. Erupting supervolcanoes destabilized ecosystems, plunging the planet's living things into a series of extinctions over the course of 1 million years and permanently changing life on Earth. But in what is today southern Africa, some large predators managed to beat the odds for a time. In a paper published Monday in the journal Current Biology, researchers describe a new saber-toothed beast that appeared unexpectedly, then vanished at the very end of the extinction event, challenging the ecological theory that says large predators are first to fall victim to extinction pressures. The discoveries help unlock some of the extinction dynamics of the Permian-Triassic transition, which could be useful in better understanding what may result from the ecological crises faced by life on our planet today. Life on land throughout the Permian Period, which lasted from about 298 million to 252 million years ago, was dominated by synapsids, the evolutionary precursors to mammals or protomammals. Dinosaurs were more than 100 million years from evolving. Permian synapsids included our own ancestors, and not nearly enough people know about this, said Christian Kammerer, a research curator and paleontologist at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences and an author of the paper. These synapsids, he added, are more closely related to us than any dinosaur or other reptile. Gorgonoptions were a group within the synapsids. These four-legged carnivores hunted with saber-toothed fangs projecting from a boxy rectangular snout. They were kind of the T-Rex of their time, said Pia Viglietti, a research scientist at the Field Museum of Natural History and another author of the paper. Earth's landmass was then mostly a single Pangaea supercontinent. The team discovered that various species of Gorgonoption occupied the top predator niche in what is now Kruger Basin in South Africa throughout the approximately million years of Permian extinction. In an almost factory-line succession, a series of Gorgonoptions evolved, filled that niche, went extinct and were then replaced by another. But what surprised them was the discovery that a Gorgonoption species had evolved and quickly became dominant toward the very end of the Permian extinction. It closely resembled a Siberian tiger-sized species in Ostrantsevia alexandri that had previously been found only in Russia. The two new specimens were discovered by Nthopintheri and John Nyafuli in 2010 and 2011 during fieldwork led by Jennifer Botha, a co-author from the University of the Witwatersrand. But it wasn't until the current team re-examined 77 Gorgonoptions fossils from the crew that they realized this was a new species. Mr. Nyafuli was responsible for numerous significant fossil discoveries, Dr. Viglietti noted, and died in 2020. They named the animal in Ostrantsevia africana, and proposed that its forebears migrated from far north to south across the perilous Pangan landmass. When their descendants dominated what became southern Africa, they had no true competitors as they fed on herds of herbivorous Lystrosaurus. Juan Carlos Cisneros, a paleontologist specializing in the Permian at the Federal University of Piau in Brazil who was not involved in the research, said that discovering similar Gorgonoptions in both Russia and South Africa was unexpected and exciting. Apparently, what was bad luck for southern predators, he said, referencing the extinction of Gorgonoption species right before in Ostrantsevia africana arrived, was opportunity for the ones from the north. It wasn't long before in Ostrantsevia africana faced its own extinction. This discovery, the team emphasizes, offers lessons we should heed. What killed the Gorgonoptions and their entire ecosystem, Dr. Viglietti said, was a global warming crisis that happened over hundreds of thousands of years. She noted that in today's world, we are seeing these same changes over the course of a single human lifetime. Dr. Kammerer also sees the discovery as an opportunity to take another look at the Permian Triassic extinction, which is often overlooked in favor of the era of the dinosaurs that followed. Without this extinction, there is every indication that proto-mammals would have continued to rule the earth, he said, and the ancestors of dinosaurs might never have had a chance. Burning fossil fuels helped drive Earth's most massive extinction. Massive volcanic eruptions ignited oil and coal deposits in Siberia in the events that led to the Permian-Triassic Great Dying Event. Paleontologists call it the Permian-Triassic Mass Extinction, but it has another name: the Great Dying. It happened about 252 million years ago, and over the course of just tens of thousands of years, 96% of all life in the oceans and, perhaps, roughly 70% of all land life vanished forever. The smoking gun was ancient volcanism in what is today Siberia, where volcanoes disgorged enough magma and lava over about 1 million years to cover an amount of land equivalent to a third or even half of the surface area of the United States. But volcanism on its own didn't cause the extinction. The Great Dying was fueled, two separate teams of scientists report in two recent papers, by extensive oil and coal deposits that the Siberian magma blazed through, leading to combustion that released greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane. There was lots of oil, coal and carbonates formed before the extinction underground near the Siberian volcanism, said Kunio Kaiho, a geochemist at Tohoku University in Sendai, Japan, and the lead author of one of the studies, published this month in Geology, which presented evidence for the burning of ancient fossil fuels by magma. We discovered two volcanic combustion events coinciding with the end Permian land extinction and marine extinction. The findings solidify the Great Dying as one of the best examples that we have from Earth's history of what a changing climate can do to life on our planet. Climate forward, there's an ongoing crisis and tons of news. Our newsletter keeps you up to date. Get it with a Times subscription. Dr. Kaiho and his team retrieved samples from rock deposits in South China and northern Italy that formed around the time of the extinction, and they detected spikes of a molecule called coronine. That substance, Dr. Kaiho explained, is produced only when fossil fuels combust at extremely high temperatures, like those you might find in magma. One potential issue with coronine, says Henrik Svensson, a geologist at the University of Oslo who was not involved in the work, is that it forms only at temperatures exceeding 2100 degrees Fahrenheit, and to reach such temperatures, the fossil fuels would have had to be enveloped inside the magma, not just sitting next to it. But the team's findings are backed up by a Nature Geoscience study published last month that presents chemical evidence for the acidification of the oceans after the fossil fuel combustion and greenhouse gas release. As the planet warmed, the oceans absorbed more and more carbon dioxide. This caused waters to acidify to the point that organisms like corals would have dissolved, explained Hanna Jurikova, a biogeochemist at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland who led the study. Dr. Jurikova and her team discovered spikes of the element boron, a proxy for acidity levels, in fossil brachiopod shells found in rocks in Italy that stretch across the extinction boundary. For the first time, we are able to explain what caused the extinction, Dr. Jurikova said. If you just increase the temperature, organisms often find a way to cope. But the problem is if you really change temperature and acidification, and maybe nutrients, that's when your organisms will not be able to adapt. Today, with sea surface temperatures on the rise, the oceans are acidifying, and some shelled animals are already showing signs of their shells dissolving. Dr. Svensson thinks the next step for geologists is field work in Siberia to get a handle on whether ancient magma interacted with the fossil fuel deposits as the new studies imply. A lot of this we simply do not know, Dr. Svensson said. While you may be tempted to draw an analogy between the Great Dying and today's warming climate, there are significant differences. For one, the greenhouse gases emitted during the Permian-Triassic events were far greater than anything humans have produced. Also, the volcanoes released carbon dioxide 252 million years ago at a rate much slower than humans emit it today. The amount of carbon released to the atmosphere per year from the Siberian traps, it was still 14 times lower than the rate we have at the moment, Dr. Jurikova said. So, the amount of carbon we are burning per year at the moment is much higher than during the largest extinction. I mean, that's incredible, right? Evidence from South Africa for a protracted and Permian extinction on land. Significance. Mass extinctions permanently altered life's evolutionary trajectory 5 times in Earth's history, and the end Permian extinction was the greatest of these biotic crises. South Africa's unparalleled fossil record provides a window into mass extinction dynamics on land. We analyze a unique data set comprising hundreds of precisely positioned tetrapod fossils, identifying a protracted, 1 extinction. This contrasts with the rapid marine extinction, demonstrating that the effects of biotic crises vary prominently among Earth's surface environments. We also identify the blooming of disaster taxa before the main extinction rather than in its aftermath as assumed.